All right, hello. Welcome to episode 3 of Becoming Undeniable. Now, let me explain one more time. The reason I have this podcast and I named it Undeniable is because, one, I want to be able to try and articulate my thoughts for 5 minutes straight. Why 5 minutes? Because that's how long my camera records for. It records in increments of 5 minutes. And yeah, I want to be able to learn how to articulate myself in the best way I can, reducing how many times I say, like, all those things. I want to be able to sit in silence if I have to think about something before I say it. And why is it called Becoming Undeniable? It's called Becoming Undeniable because, to me, to become undeniable means... These dogs, man. To me, becoming undeniable simply means to get to a level or point in your life at which even your enemies can't deny you. Even your enemies or people who don't like you can't deny that, yes, David is capable of doing X, Y, Z. He does a good job at this. Even though I don't like him, or I don't like what he stands for or believe what he says, at least they would know that, yes, you can trust that David is going to do what he says, and he has the ability to do it well. And today, in Becoming Undeniable, I have learned, or rather, I am beginning to really realize the importance of being a man of your word, right? If you want to be someone who is undeniable, you have to be a person of your word. And let me hit you with 2 verses that sort of shook me to my core. The first verse is Matthew chapter 5, verse 37. It says, "But let your statement be yes or no. Anything more than that comes from the evil one." Right, now, what does that mean? It simply means when you say yes, let it mean yes. If you say no, let it mean no. If you want to do something, say yes, you'll do it, and then do it. If you don't want to do something, say no, you won't do it, and then don't do it. It's really that simple. You have to be a person of your word. And another verse that I think this one shook me a bit more than the other one, and it says, "It is a trap for a man to speak a vow of consecration and say rashly, 'It is holy,' and not until afterward consider whether he can fulfill it." And that's Proverbs chapter 20, verse 25. Now, to me, what I'm getting from this is that if you don't think you can actually do something, don't go and shout that, yes, I will do this. And until afterward, then consider if you can do this or not. That's going to set you up for your yeses to be no's and your no's to be no's or yeses. I don't know, whichever one you want to pick. But to me, I've sort of realized that whenever I say I'm going to do something, I do it only if there's an external obligation or consequence, right? But if I tell myself I'm going to do something, I just end up not doing it. And that is slowly changing, because with this podcast or with this YouTube stuff and Instagram and other things and going to the gym, those are new things, new additions to my life, very recent, in this year, last year, and 2 years ago. And like I said, becoming undeniable is a process. It takes time. It's going to take a level of refinement that will get me to where I want to be. And it's a continuous thing. But regardless of whether or not it takes time, I think I have to realize that I can't just claim that, yes, I'm going to do something and only consider if I can do it after I actually say the thing. It's like, don't be rash in just claiming that you'll do something. I know sometimes, you definitely want to say, yes, I'll do this thing, because you want to commit to something. And I think sometimes, it's a case by case basis, right? It depends on the wisdom that God has given you. And if you're not a Christian, it just depends on experience, and it just depends on also wisdom. But this is a worldly kind of wisdom. But I think the kind of wisdom that God gives you is that you don't even need to go through something to understand that, yes, I have the foresight that I might not be able to do this thing. Not because I'm incapable, but because just the extenuating circumstances won't allow me to do so. So I'm not going to make a promise that, yes, I will do this. Like, for instance, right, if someone was to ask me, "David, would you like to be in a relationship right now?" I'm like, no. Not because I don't want to, but because I know I'm not ready yet, right? And not that you have to be perfect, but there are some things that are too major to attach myself to someone when I haven't fixed those things or haven't really refined those things just yet. So yeah, that's what today's lesson really is, that an undeniable man does what he says. And when he says he's going to do something, he goes through with it. He makes sure that he's capable of doing the thing that he says he's going to do, and he doesn't just rashly jump to saying whatever he wants. And I'm learning that. And it doesn't just apply to talking to other people, it applies to yourself as well. You can't keep telling yourself you're going to do something and then not do it. You're lying to yourself. And the more you lie to yourself, the more you distrust yourself. Imagine you had a friend who just kept lying to you all the time. He says, "Hey, I'm going to do this. Hey, I'm going to do this." At some point, you're just going to be like, this guy's a liar. I can't trust him. That's the same with us. If we keep lying to ourselves and going back on our own promises, we won't believe ourselves anymore. So yes, let your no be no and your yes be yes. That's today's lesson. I'll see you next week. for another episode. Go. All right, that was good. That was today's podcast. I hope I articulated myself well enough. The end was kind of weird, but like I said, this is just a refinement process, and I'm inviting you along for the journey as you watch me just, I don't know, become a better man in general. I have a lot of flaws. I can't tell you all of them because there's a level of vulnerability that I think God has given me enough wisdom to be like, I can tell you this and I can't tell you these things. I'm relatively comfortable telling you a lot of things, but some things I just can't tell you just yet. And yeah, those are just battles for me to fight. And yeah, we're fighting them, and we're going to win by God's grace, because we know that we fight from victory, not for victory. The battle's already won. We're more than conquerors, right? I'll put all these verses somewhere. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you next time. I don't know when, if it's going to be next week or even tomorrow, who knows. I'll see you again for episode 4 of Becoming Undeniable. Today was episode 3. Next time is going to be episode 4. So yeah, again, this is not connected to anything. It's just a gimmick. So yeah, I hope they're like, the dogs and the background music wasn't like, or the background noise wasn't too loud. But yeah, thank you all for listening. And as always, Godspeed.